Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we'll be answering the question, can Ed Litton survive SermonGate? Now, Ed Litton is the new president of the Southern Baptist Convention. He's basically a pre-1979 Southern Baptist liberal. He's extremely woke. He's pretty egalitarian and debatably a partialist. However, what seems to be that which could bring him down is his plagiarism. This dude does not write his own sermons. He, according to his own statement, has a team of about 8 people to help collaborate his sermons. And by collaborate his sermons, that probably means they help adapt J.D. Greer's sermons into his messages for that Sunday. And Ed Litton has been caught plagiarizing numerous sermons, and we're talking down to exact illustrations, down to exact jokes, down to exact mannerisms. It's creepy, let alone the fact that these sermons follow the same general outline and cover the same passages of Scripture and the same book of Scripture. So Ed Litton has been caught red-handed with plagiarism, and this is kind of like a document dump. Like, there's more sermons coming where that came from, because my guess is someone over at Reformation Charlotte or wherever has the inside scoop on these private YouTube videos. Either that, or they just mass downloaded them all, thinking that this would happen. I know I downloaded Ed Litton's sermon that I did a review or a video on. I downloaded that sermon. I'm sure other people did likewise. And good for them. They are doing the Lord's work. And for that, we are thankful. So to answer the question, so now that we've established what Ed Litton has done, and even the mainstream media is reporting, they don't got his back on this one. They had his back when he won and defeated the conservative resurgence. They were totally for that because they want a weak church. However, the mainstream media will probably take a they will probably use this as an opportunity to tarnish the church. But, they're tarnishing a false teacher. And not only a false teacher, but a fake pastor. This guy doesn't write his own sermons. He steals other people's sermons and then delivers them without attribution. And even with attribution, that's a little weird. But, this guy is stealing sermons, and he's also stealing from his congregation because they are paying him a salary, I presume, a good salary, I would think, to give a message, to preach. And this guy's just not putting in the work. It's time theft. So I think Ed Litton survives, though. Believe it or not, I think he survives. And let's just break down some of the reasons. Number one reason, there is no real impeachment mechanism in the Southern Baptist Convention. Like, if there's a scandal within the president, there's not really a clear mechanism in the Southern Baptist Constitution or the Southern Baptist bylaws, I did read them, to impeach an executive officer. There's not really a mechanism for that in their constitution. Now, it does help that they only serve a 1-year term. So that does help. That's probably the reason why there's no mechanism to impeach, but it is a faulty, it is a hole in their bylaw logic to not have a removal mechanism, especially as the position has gained more prominence. So there's no impeachment mechanism. So that means Ed Litton will have to go down on his own terms if he wants to go down. But who actually wants him to go down? That's a good question, because let's look at the most powerful people in the convention. Al Mohler, or let's start with Kevin Ezell, who's the kingmaker. He helped make Ed Litton king, and silence. Al Mohler, silence. Danny Akin's got his back. He's president of Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. And you'd think that these seminary presidents would actually care about the issue of plagiarism. After all, I assume for graduating with a seminary degree, you have to deliver a sermon. And if you were to plagiarize said sermon that you delivered, you would, at the minimum, probably be put on an academic probation because, no matter how immoral the academic institution is, they will take plagiarism seriously. They will take that seriously. So, well, unless you're a Southern Baptist entity, you're not going to take this plagiarism seriously because Ed Litton is not facing any calls to resign from the Southern Baptist elites as far as I can see. And I have done some looking. A lot of them, J.D. Greer, Danny Akin, are, circling the wagons. They are defending their homeboy. So Ed Litton is not facing pressure from the inner circle of SBC elites to resign. They got their homeboys back. So with that said, from their satanic point of view, they have good reason. After all, these are wolves. Now, the first vice president who would be in line to take over should Ed Litton resign is Lee Brand. Lee Brand is part of the Conservative Baptist Network. He was their candidate because the Conservative Baptist Network had a ticket of candidates. So they had some they had Mike Stone and they had some down ballot candidates. And Lee Brand was the one who won, the only one of their down ballot candidates that seemed to have won. And he's the first vice president. Now that's a position of very little power. However, should Ed Litton resign or die or become disabled? Disabled and death are the two clauses in the SBC Constitution. And I don't think disabled is a euphemism that could include be disqualified because of scandal. So Ed Litton, should he resign, would be succeeded by Lee Brand. Now, Lee Brand is a conservative, so they don't want him in. And that's what you're seeing here. They are going to do everything in their power to make sure that the Conservative Baptist Network does not win. And I believe Lee Brand is also black. Not that that matters for his qualifications, but I imagine that the last thing that these woke evangelicals want is a black conservative Christian preaching against critical race theory. They don't want that. It's not that they... And the thing is, they don't really recognize him as black because, he's a black body. He's not a black voice, as Vodi Bakum would explain. See, I'm not plagiarizing that argument. But it does send a message that not all black people are woke. It does send that message, and that's a message that I think the church needs to hear. I think that's what we need to see more of, is this, is there a silent black majority of black people who are not woke, not into that critical race theory, not feeling like victims? And Lee Brand would speak to that. They don't want that. He will blow them up. And who knows, he may even be better at the job than Mike Stone would have been. So, the same people who wanted to tell you that the Conservative Baptist Network was nothing but a wanton power play are clinging so hard to their homeboy Ed Litton, despite his disqualifying behavior. They are clinging so hard to power, that which they accuse the Conservative Baptist Network of doing. The hypocrisy. But these people are following the playbook of Saul Alinsky. Accuse the other side of what you are doing. That is what the game is. They are using Alinsky rules for radicals. So, Ed Litton, I think, survives. After all, worse men than him have survived scandal in the last 2 years. They just waited it out. Who knows? They might memory hole this plagiarism scandal, this SermonGate. They might memory hole that. After all, how many people did Andrew Cuomo kill in New York? Memory hole. So, Ed Litton, I think, survives. Now, I think his reelection prospects are damaged for sure, but that's a different question. That's a year from now. It's hard to start thinking of the next election so close to the last one. But it's a cruel power play that these people are playing, and they don't regret it. They don't care that it makes them look like hypocrites. And we're going to do more deep diving into the hypocrisy of these Southern Baptist elites. So definitely subscribe for some more of that. But Ed Litton, man, this guy is a fake pastor and a false teacher. And the Southern Baptist elites could not care less. Anything to keep the conservative resurgence dead in its tracks. So that's all I got to say about that for now. But subscribe to the Evangelical Dark Web so you can catch more content like this. Also, like the video if you did. And comment below what you think about what I think. Do you think I'm wrong? Because I definitely hope I'm wrong, because it would be funny if the Conservative Baptist Network wins without winning, if you know what I mean. So comment below if you think I'm wrong. Comment below if you think I'm right. Either way, have a blessed day, and I will catch you on the next one.